What is up, guys? The world of anime is full of some extremely exciting news, and I'm going to get you guys fully caught up on that. We have Call of Night is getting a second season. Yes, please, more creepy nuts. I want it. Please give it to me. I cannot wait. Additionally, Hayao Miyazaki wins another Oscar. We're getting a new Chobits anime, but not really. Frieren is getting a prequel novel series, which is really weird. Which studio is adapting some weird deer show? Rie Takahashi is voicing a guild receptionist, which I am all for because I love my guild receptionist. And Crunchyroll is finally responding to claims of price hikes. But yes, this and so much more. So if you're interested in any of this news, definitely stay tuned. Let's kick things off with the most exciting news for me that yes, Fuji TV has announced that Call of the Night manga is getting a second season. Yes, please now just start releasing it. They released a new teaser for it as well as a video for it. And yes, it is going to continue to air on Noitamina block and other channels. But yes, I could not be more excited. I absolutely adored Call of the Night Season 1. I was this close to reading the manga. I'm like, okay, I think I've given it long enough. I don't think we're getting another season. I'll just jump into the manga. It's concluding and all that kind of stuff. But then they announced another season. So I'm going to watch the second season. And then I'll probably read the manga because I don't think we'll get a third season. I doubt we'll get a third season, but I don't know. A lot of shows these days are getting continued adaptations, and I'm really happy about that. It seems like a new norm now is to, yes, it's them banking on what's currently working rather than adapting new stuff. But I was more so tired of the one and done. Here's one season. It's an advertisement for the source material. Then move on to the next one. They're just advertisements. So exciting news, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. I absolutely adore Season 1. It was an incredible series, and I cannot wait for this one. Moving on, probably the weirdest trailer I have seen in a long time. My Dear Friend Nokotan manga is getting an anime adaptation by Wit Studio, which is very surprising. Wit Studio does not do very many comedy. I mean, they had like that whole Onipan, was it called? I think it was the Oni Ponsu show thing. I mean, they've done things like, yes, they're collaborating to do the whole, Spy Family, but like a pure goofy comedy, very weird kind of change for Wit Studio, which we've kind of noted before. They made some statement about the idea they want to kind of move away from those crazy high action stuff. And this is kind of a sign of one of those, kind of let's do something else, which I'm all for. I'm all for them kind of changing their typical pacing. But yes, it's set to premiere on July 7th, so we already got a date for it. They released a PV for it. They released a visual for it. The series is actually written by Oshioshio, which, for those who don't know, Oshioshio is actually the character designer for Kanata Amane of Hololive. So that's interesting. I've seen a bit of their stuff. So that was kind of an oddity. I was looking into it because the PV seriously looked like, yeah, Azumanga Daioh. Like, I was like, is this the same mangaka? Because the comedy and everything feels like that. It's literally like a mixture of like Azumanga Daioh and that one other show that I forget the name of it. Just a very kind of raunchy and more kind of muscular humor here and there. A lot of chibi art. The whole popping off the head thing looked a lot like Azumanga Daioh. So yeah, either way, it looks very interesting. And yeah, I will say the CGI deers look horrific. I know the argument's going to be that it's intentional. I feel it's intentional. They're trying to make these like very kind of photorealistic looking deers to kind of very much so clash with the art style and make that kind of realism there. It still looks dumb. Like, I can admit that even though it's there, it's still dumb looking, okay? I can acknowledge that it's meant, but I can still say it looks ugly. It clashes with the art style. But that aside, it looks bonkers. It looks goofy. Cannot wait for it. The synopsis is no one knows that Torako used to be a delinquent. All of her classmates only know her as the perfect student. But everything changes when Nokotan, a transfer student with antlers, enters her life. Antlers aren't the only thing strange about Nokotan. Her deer nose can sniff out Torako's secret past. Whether it's at school or the zoo, chaos follows the doe-eyed girl's every step. Torako has so many questions. Is Nokotan a deer, a girl, or something in between? Yeah, like I said, the PV looks crazy. Like her coming into the classroom and she literally hits the door frame and this stuff comes flying in and all these students are all happy to see her coming in and they're just like hitting all this debris is smack them across the face. Yeah, her hanging on the power lines. It looks goofy. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. But yeah, My Dear Friend Nokotan. Looking forward to it. HappyNet announced that I am a noble on the brink of ruin, so I might as well try Mastering Magic. Light novel series is getting an anime adaptation. You knew it was a light novel before I even said that because of the title being extremely long. They also released a teaser visual for it. The synopsis is what's a guy to do when his life suddenly changes while innocently enjoying a nice cold drink after work. And I mean really changes. The the middle-aged commoner now finds himself in the body of Liam Hamilton, the young son of a noble house teetering on the brink of collapse. Between his fervently desperate father and his utterly apathetic brothers, the only bright side of his new situation is that Liam can finally try learning magic like he always wanted. Little does he know, his hobby of choice may be about to turn his life upside down yet again. Will Liam be able to master the craft of magic, and will it be enough to save him from the shadow looming over his family? Shrug. It's a very shrug synopsis. I didn't actually read that beforehand. It's like, I don't even want to talk about the show. Sure, we'll see. Whatever. Moving on. It seems like there is a interesting return of magical girl shows. I mean, we have Gushing Over Magical Girls, if you want to include that. But yeah, the official website for Magical Girl and the Evil Lieutenant used to be Arch Nemesis Anime, released a new PV and a premiere of July. This one is, she is a magical girl sworn to fight for peace, love, and justice. He's a lieutenant born into a military family that serves the evil empire. And yet, it was love at first sight. From Inu x Boku SS creator Koko Fujiwara comes a 4-panel comma about the hostile enemies who won't kill and love each other. It looks interesting. The PV they released is very short. It's literally them looking at each other, and then she's like, thank you, Mr. Nice something, evil something, and then it cuts off. But it looks cute. I'm definitely looking forward to it. Moving on, Fuji TV announced that Kami Erabi God App second season is premiering in October. For all those 2 people out there besides myself that actually watched that series, is actually coming back. Yes, the second season will be the anime's concluding arc, so that kind of implies that that's it. They're only going to do 2 cores. It's a weird show. I'm not going to sell anybody on it. That's like one of those shows when I went to review it, I'm like, yeah, there's some weird oddities about it, and it's kind of cool in certain regards, but at the same time, I can't say go watch it. I can't say go watch it. If it looks interesting, go watch it, but I'm not going to tell anybody to go watch it. It's weird, and it's got some goodness in there, especially towards the later part, but I'm not really sure how they're going to go into a second season with it. I really don't at this point, but we'll see. Next bit, official website for the anime Welcome to Japan, Miss Elf, released a new PV and visual. Kazuhiro Kitase's only hobby is sleeping. Ever since he was young, he would enter a wondrous world within his dreams and go on thrilling adventures. One day, he goes on an adventure with an elf girl he became friends with in his dream world, but it's put to an abrupt halt when they both get scorched by a dragon's breath. As he awakens from his dream, he notices a familiar figure sleeping next to him. The elf girl from his dreams? Join Kazuhiro on his new adventures through Japan with Miss Elf. That one is I'm very mixed on. Like, the PV is like, okay, we'll see. I mean, it could be cute, but at the same time, is it one of those aspects of like reverse fish out of water? Like, he's just going to basically show her the wonders of the world, and she's going to find smartphones and all this other stuff. We'll see. It looks kind of cute, but yeah. Next bit, the official website for Shy Anime has revealed the second season will premiere in July, so if you were looking forward to that one, I know they announced that one having a second season pretty quickly, but I never got like fully caught up on it. I was like halfway through the series, and then it kind of just, I fell off on it. But yeah, cool stuff. Maybe I might get caught up for the second season, but we'll see. Some exciting news, the official website for I May Be a Guild Receptionist, but also any boss to clock out on time, anime adaptation has revealed new information on the project. Now, I thought this was new news, but yes, they previously announced that Rie Takahashi will be voicing the main character, Elena Culver. They also released a new PV, a new visual, and a 2024 premiere. It's going to be worked on by Cloverworks, which I don't think that has been announced before, which is really exciting news. Cloverworks has been doing a lot of really fantastic stuff lately, so I'm hoping that continues. They had like this brief moment where they kind of fell off a little bit, and then they kind of came back really quickly, and they've been doing some really incredible stuff, so definitely looking forward to that. Like I mentioned before, I have a thing for the Guild Receptionist. Like in every single show, and there's a lot of shows with Guild Receptionists, because if it's a fantasy show, there's going to be a guild, and there's going to be a guild receptionist. And I typically like them. They're usually really cute. They have some great seiyus that working on them, but they're always like maybe once an episode, they might see them briefly. They're never like a focus. And so to actually have a story that is centered on a guild receptionist is really exciting. And then to add on to that, it's Rie Takahashi. So that has me really excited for it. I'm really hoping this character is a really fun character to kind of hang out with. It kind of is technically leaning on the idea that she's not necessarily just a guild receptionist. She's going to be going out and fighting stuff. So she's technically an adventurer, but she's going to be spending time behind the counter every now and then, I guess. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I'm definitely excited for that. Again, Cloverworks, Rie Takahashi, guild receptionist. Let's do it. I'm all for it. I'm excited for it. For our next bit, the staff of a journey through another world raising kids while adventuring has revealed a PB and a July date premiere. So right around the corner, it's going to be coming out, which will basically be summer. But yeah, this is the one that I've joked about before, which is basically in another world with my child labor. It's literally what the show is about, because he goes to the other world, he meets these cute little twins, and then he finds out they're super strong, and then he goes to a guild, and then he starts having them beat up monsters for him, and it's like, okay. I know this might actually be pretty controversial, but okay. In another world with my child labor, let's go. They are really cute, so we'll see how well it actually plays out. Moving on, Fuji TV announced that the anime adaptation of Senpai is a boy web manga will premiere in July as well, so another summer show. Crunchyroll has already announced they'll be streaming this series, and of course it's the one that's about can true love really overcome any obstacle. Saki, a high school student, confesses her feelings for Makoto. Taken aback, Makoto reveals his secret, but the sudden discovery doesn't seem to bother Saki, who is really head over heels for him. After being rejected, Saki asks Ryoji, Makoto's childhood friend, for some advice on how to win over his heart. A love triangle unfolds when Ryoji realizes that he might also have feelings for his old friend. Love triangle. I don't think I've ever read that synopsis before, so that kind of just throws another kind of wrench in the whole situation, but yeah, a very interesting little series that I'm kind of excited for. I think I've heard some whispers that have actually been a good series. Moving on, yes, the Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Science, and that we really nobody cares about. Let's be honest. It's like, yeah, the Academy Awards, who cares anymore? Yeah, they apparently awarded Hayao Miyazaki, or at least the Boy and the Heron film, another Oscar, a Oscar, which again is technically Miyazaki's second Oscar. I think his first one was Spirited Away, so shrug, I guess. Apparently Miyazaki and Toshio weren't even there. Like Toshio Suzuki wasn't even there. The VP of Ghibli, he came onto a video and said, "Hey, sorry they weren't here. They're old." That's literally his response is, "I'm sorry that they couldn't be here to accept this." He's old. They're old. I'm sorry. Toshio and Miyazaki, they're what we'd call old. I don't know. There's this like cynical side of me, and this is literally just me. This is me speculating. I'm not saying this is true. There's a little side of me that's like, yeah, they probably told Miyazaki, "Hey, you've been nominated," and he's like, I'm not going over there. Like he's like, that's a joke. Nobody cares about that thing. And he's like, I'm not going to go over there again because there's probably a high likelihood that they won't even pick me. We've had so many times where incredible animated films from Japan go to the Oscars or whatever as nominations. They never win. And most of the times they never get nominated. So I don't think they care. Nobody cares. And I think the only reason that anime fans are actually talking about this entire thing is because, oh wow, we won once. I think they're just really trying to get our attention. We don't care. Anyways, that's cool. Cool, Miyazaki, I guess. Moving on, Netflix and Crunchyroll has announced that they will be streaming Dandadan TV anime in October. Now, this is an oddity. I meant to check the email on it, but the official post from Crunchyroll did not specify worldwide. Netflix did specify worldwide, so I'm going to assume that both of them are going to be worldwide. They've done that before. There's plenty of anime that both of them have done worldwide streaming across the globe, so I'm going to assume they both do, but for now, to not assume, I'll say that Crunchyroll doesn't have a full global launch, but still, I'm curious how this is going to play out. I'm going to trust Netflix more than Crunchyroll, but yeah, it's kind of a raunchy, based on the first 2 chapters that I've read, it's kind of raunchy, so I'm kind of curious how they're going to handle a lot of that stuff, but it seems like Netflix Anime, their Twitter account is, they're showing some raunchy stuff in their trailers on there, so I'm going to assume they're not going to really bother messing with anything, but I don't know. We'll see. Crunchyroll doesn't censor stuff. I'm not going to say that, but they could get a global version that's more kind of toned down. I don't know. I doubt it, but for now, they're both going to have it. I'm going to assume they're going to both have it uncensored, but it's a pretty rough show, like raunchy and very mature, so I'm excited for it. It looks like it's not really holding anything back. Moving on, an official website was launched to announce an anime adaptation of Sakuna of Rice and Ruin. Now, this is very interesting. Now, of course, I think this is a Switch game. It's a side-scroller action slasher kind of game where you got to go back to your little hut up here and you do some crops from raising some rice and whatnot. You have this little family that's staying there with you. I was really badly wanting to play the game, but I never got a chance to. And when I heard about this, it kind of shocked me. More so the fact that PA Works is going to be animating this, and it's premiering in 2024. So real big shock for me, as it's kind of a game that I never really expect to ever see any kind of adaptations from it. Apparently they made a manga adaptation of it as well, but it's got a really good art style. So if PA Works can really nail that art style, I think this could be a really cool show to check out. So I'm really excited for this. Again, it's kind of a shocker. Didn't really expect this. Maybe it might just be a short. I don't know. I'm not sure how much like lore and story is actually in the story. So the game description is players take the role of Sakuna, a proud yet lonely harvest goddess who was banished to the dangerous lands with a group of outcast humans. Sakuna tames the island by defeating demons using her farming tools as weapons while chaining attacks with her celestial scarf, a magical item that allows her to grapple distant enemies on planet. That's the game description. Doesn't really tell you much about the story, but again, it looks interesting. Again, the art style was what was the initial pull for me. And again, if PA Work can nail that, I'm pretty excited for this. Moving on, Crunchyroll has finally made a statement regarding the rumors of a price increase, which, yes, I covered on this channel before. I disputed it, saying that this is not what you guys think it is. It's literally telling people about a grandfathering system from Funimation. It's not going to affect the Crunchyroll users. They could, but what people were citing was this email for somebody that was grandfathered in a Funimation pricing, and that Funimation pricing would go away. It's not talking about the actual broader audience. So, but yeah, they told ANN no announcements about a price change at this time. The company clarified some people will experience price changing if they were switching from Funimation-only subscription to Crunchyroll. ANN also inquired about possible price changing within the next 2 years, and Crunchyroll responded saying that it's improbable to predict a price change for that time frame. I don't even know why they asked that. It seems like a really dumb question. That seems like we're trying to push them, like we're journalists. There's going to be no company in the world that has a subscriber base that will admit they're going to be possibly changing prices within the next 2 years. They don't know. They could technically change it in January if they wanted to. That wasn't the case because that person's email, the email that was spreading around that was giving a January date, that was when his annual subscription ended, so that's why it was changing on January. That's no sign that anything is going to happen in January. But yes, they could do that, but it's not that date. That's not what the email's saying. So that was my argument, and I don't know why it took this long for them to say something, but thankfully they finally said something. Maybe somebody at NN was like, hey, maybe you should finally ask these people what's going on. And then like, oh yeah, that's not happening. It was ridiculous. I argued to people a lot saying that if you want change in a company, fight against the things that are actually true. Now, yes, again, I argue that a lot of these people made these posts because they wanted clicks. It's easy to hate a company for an outrageous idea, so it's easy clicks. But it's harder to get people outraged and get clicks for actual true issues that are happening in the industry. Again, during that whole fiasco, I was arguing about the fact that people were losing their digital goods. That is something that is true, that is happening, that people can argue about. Don't chase after this lie to enact change, because then Crunchyroll sees it and goes, well, we're not doing that, so we can ignore it. It's a very frustrating thing. But anyways, I'm glad they finally responded. Moving on, Shosasuka ni Naro website has published the final chapter of Reincarnated as a Sword. So that is the web novel series, and then they're, of course, readapting that into a light novel series. So, but it's just to tell you that the story apparently has come to an end. I'm not sure if they're going to be planning on doing anything additional, but looks like another series, another beloved series, is coming to conclusion. And again, yes, we're still technically waiting for the second season, which I don't think we even have a date announced for it yet. But yeah, sad to see that series coming to conclusion. Moving on, the official website for Dungeon People released a new visual and a July premiere. So that one's another one for summer. We're starting to tally up the summer shows. I mean, we have like over 60 shows for spring. We got to start building up to get to 60 for summer. But yeah, I am looking forward to that one. It looks cute. Kadokawa has revealed My Wife Has No Emotion manga is getting a TV anime. It's set to premiere in July, and Tezuka Production is animating it. So that's the joke, Chobits. It's not really Chobits, but yeah, it's a single guy with a robot that's taking care of the house, and yeah, the shenanigans happens. It looks super cute. Her design actually looks really cute. For our next bit, we have an update on the official website for the anime If My Wife Became an Elementary School Student. They revealed a new visual and a 2024 premiere. So still don't really have an actual season, but at least now we have a year that we're kind of going for. That's one that I'm cautiously curious about. Like, it has the possibility of having a really good story, but we'll see. And then finally, our last bit of news, Shogakukan has listed a novel adaptation for Frieren Beyond Journeys in manga. This is set to release on April 17. Mei Hachimoko is set to write the series, and is titled Soso no Frieren Prelude. It is set to be a prequel novel with a collection of 5 short stories not included in the original manga story, featuring Frieren, Fern, Stark, Loin and Kane, and Ara. The novel depicts Frieren before she goes on a journey to get to know people. And Kanehito Yamada, who of course is the author of the original series, is set to supervise the novel series. So at least they'll be intact to at least control what they're actually doing there, not just let them do whatever they want to do with it. But I'll be interested to see how much of their inclusion is in the story and everything like that. So really cool stuff there. I think when somebody pointed this to me at some point, they said that it was actually going to be a manga. But I'm like, that's really cool, especially for Aura. Eloine and Kane would be cool as well, but no, it's a novel series, which I'm still excited for. I'll be interested to see what kind of stories they come from, and especially, I think, out of all that, Aura. Because I think that's the one that has, like, the most potential of doing something very interesting. I mean, we get a sense and an idea of Loin and Kane. They were, you know, going to school and whatnot together. What are you going to expand there? Fern, we got most of her story, maybe before Heiter saved her. Maybe that would be an interesting thing. But yeah, all that stuff is really cool, and I'm excited to see it, so we'll see how it turns out. But that's it. That's all the news I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed this news bit. If you did, make sure that like button down below, comment. Let me know what's the most interesting news in this news bit for you. Additionally, if you like this content and you want to support the channel more, I have a Patreon link, tips, links, super thanks, membership button down below. Greatly appreciate it, but it does. And y'all take care.